Oh. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Let's Talk CFL podcast, episode number 643, I believe it is. I'm your host, Christopher Jones, and we're going to talk some football tonight. CFL football, the best kind. Canadian gridiron football. Okay, so we had a guest tonight, and needless to say, Scott Morledge fucked up, and we had to cancel him. So he'll be back in. He'll be on the show next week. So we're gonna wing this thing tonight and kind of go off of the agenda that Michael so kindly created for us for our host or for our guest, and we're just gonna get some. We're gonna ad lib a little bit because that's what we do. Most nights on the show we do anyhow. So let's introduce the panel. I got Michael Dennis here. Michael, Portland, Oregon. Welcome, sir. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm enjoying the 76-degree weather here in Portland. It feels like summertime. So life is good.
I can't relate to 76 degrees anymore. I don't know what that is. But we had 22 here the other day, so that was pretty awesome.
Okay. Doing good.
Yeah. Double it now, 32 to 44, 30. Yeah, we're about to say 76 degrees or something. That was pretty good. Okay. William MacDonald, welcome, buddy. How are you? Calgary, Alberta.
I wish I could say that I was enjoying the 76-degree weather, but all it's doing here is snowing. And if it's not snowing, it's raining. And if it's not raining, it's snowing. And it makes
That's not good.
No, it's not really great because I would like to start doing things in my yard so I can sit in my yard and do that kind of stuff. But it's not happening yet. But it's a typical Alberta springtime. And it snows and rains and snows and rains and snows and rains. But it's supposed to be 18 by the end of this week, so I can cross my fingers.
Yeah, so I'm just asking Chatty what 22 into Fahrenheit means. He didn't tell me. You're an idiot, Chatty. Charles Cliff, welcome to the show, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing amazing, buddy. I'm doing amazing.
22 Celsius is 71 degrees Fahrenheit.
It is 71.6. I got that. So we're not quite as warm as Mike lives down in Portland.
We had that here in Abbotsford, so.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
We're going to have to get together, Charles. When are we going to do that?
Well, are you in Abbotsford?
I'm in Abbotsford.
Oh, well, whenever. Just let me know.
Long story, but yes.
Okay.
We'll have to do that. Scott Morledge, Regina, Saskatchewan. How you doing, bud?
Yes.
You gonna take responsibility for your actions here, or what?
Yeah, that was my bad. F up on my side, so we'll make up for it next week. But weather-wise, very similar to Will. We're raining, we're snowing, we're doing every fucking weather system underneath the ball today. But just like him, we're supposed to be up to around 10-15 this weekend, so that'll be nice. And give or take, roughly about a month away from rookie camp.
Yeah, you better get the weather's got to get a little better.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, eventually. It can suck for the rookies.
Okay, so we're going to talk some football here, and what are we going to do? Where are we going? What's interesting? What's new? What's happened? What do you guys got to bring to the table today? Mika Awe signed with the Montreal Alouettes. I saw Charles.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
did that. That was
happened today. So I don't know about anyone. I don't know about anyone else. I'm surprised it took that long for somebody to sign him.
Me too. I'm disappointed he's not with the Lions. I like him.
Yeah, but I don't think they could keep him and Sankey both.
Yeah, but
I'll tell you, if you have a choice between Darnell Sankey and Mika Awe, I'm going with Sankey every day of the week. And Montreal obviously went the other way for some reason, whatever. They still had to replace Sankey.
It almost turned out like a trade.
Yeah. except there was a little bit of time in between.
Right.
What was the reason behind Sankey going to BC? Why did he
Montreal
Montreal
didn't want
Montreal
to pay
released
him.
him, and more than likely it was because he wanted more money than they were willing to pay. And he said, release me then. And they said, are you going to sign with us? And he said, under no circumstances am I signing with you for that amount of money. I want this amount of money. And they said, no. And he goes, well, release me. And they did. And he signed right away with BC, didn't wait for free agency because they had come to an impasse in negotiations. So there's no point in continuing. You might as well just release the guy. And that does happen on and off in the CFL from time to time. The only reason why anybody would go to free agency actually to the deadline is because the team was still hopeful that they will sign their player. And otherwise they just release them, and usually release people before they have this mid contract roster bonus or something like that. And then a lot of players get released because of that. I don't know if that was Sankey's reason or not. Charles, do you know that?
I'm not sure. No.
No. Okay. So that's kind of why Montreal would have released him early before the end of the contract for free agency. And BC just gobbled him up.
So that gets back to my point. If he had a contract with Montreal, they're under no obligation. They're under no obligation to release him. Why would you want to give up a? Why would you want to give up a good player like that?
Because you can't re-sign him. They knew they were going to lose him on free agency, so there was no point in keeping him on the roster.
So he was going
It
to
was
be a
just
free
one
agent.
less thing that you had to do at free
He
agency,
was,
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Montreal
He
knew
was
what
going
he
to be a
wanted,
free
and they
agent.
weren't going to pay it.
And they weren't going to pay him. Simple. So,
Well, that makes
players
sense.
get released.
And
If they had him under contract for the next 3 years and everything was fine, I don't think Montreal would have released him.
No.
Right?
And Mika Ah is also a, if you will, 2017 BC Lions, 2018 New York Jets, 2018 BC Lions, and it goes on and on and on.
He's a challenge.
He
he
doesn't
doesn't
stay. He doesn't stay. Yeah, he doesn't stay in one place very long.
And it's not always his choice. It's not like an Enoch Mwamba who takes his road show out and goes to the highest bidder as the whore that he is or was. Mick Ah wants to stay with the team for a long time, but it just seems that the teams don't want to keep him around. But then BC's brought him back, 3 times? 4?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He's a great player, but my biggest criticism with him is he takes too many bad penalties. And he has.
Yeah, but you know what? The bad penalties happened early in his career. I don't think that happens anymore.
Not as bad. The first year he took some atrocious penalties that really hurt the Lions. I remember one game where he took 3 15-yarders in like 1 quarter. Wally was just livid with him.
Oh, that he should be livid. But I know there was only one player, I think, last year, same scenario, that had 3 penalties of 15 yards back to back to back. I remember that happened last year, but I can't remember the player.
Yeah, I remember.
Okay.
He's also a petroleum engineer. So
well, he's not a dumb boy. He's not a dumb football player. He's a smart guy. Right?
Yeah.
So
I kind of don't think he lets anybody kind of dictate where he goes or what he does, to be honest with you.
Because he's playing football because he wants to, not because he has to.
And both of his parents have master's degrees in criminology, so he comes from an educated family as well. So
he's not a dummy. Okay, so let's jump into this. We're gonna get rid of the first segment or 2 of your agenda there, Michael, because we don't have our guest with us. Let's talk about the Edmonton hiring of Rick Campbell as a coaching analyst. I had a couple of talks with some people online about this today. Everybody, some people are saying that Rick Campbell is not head coaching material because he made such a clusterfuck in BC, which I 100% agree with that.
Agreed.
But other people will say, well, he won a Grey Cup with Ottawa, and you can't say, that's an important distinction. And I'm going, yes, it is. But the Ottawa Red Blacks were in their second year of expansion, and the ratio didn't apply to them. So they were loaded up with some American players at the time, even though the ratio did apply to them for the amount of starters or close to it. They had to have 6 starters, not 7, but they didn't have to have 21 on the roster. So if any of them got hurt, as long as you started 7 Canadians, you didn't have to maintain 7 Canadians throughout the game. So that was a bit of a challenge, or not a challenge, a victory for Ottawa. And they built themselves a dominant team very early on, especially with the they had an expansion draft of Canadian players, and they got to pick some of the best players from around the league from every other team. And that Kevin Glenn got selected. It wasn't even a draft of Canadian players; it was a draft of everybody, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, they got to select X amount of players from every single team, and the teams had no choice in the matter. It was just like, boom,
but they got to protect some players.
Yeah, you got to protect X amount of players. Yeah, can't remember the number.
You got to protect some players, and other players you put out, and they picked them up. So they built a team. They were competitive from day one. I mean, the first year they were a clusterfuck, but then what would you expect? But year 2, they had really got their shit together and got some serious traction and ended up winning the Grey Cup. So yes, Rick Campbell won a Grey Cup, but that doesn't mean that. I think there's an asterisk beside that victory.
And don't forget, too, even the year that Ottawa won the Grey Cup with Rick Campbell as coach, they had a sub 500 record. They were 8-9-1.
Yeah.
So it's not like they were like a top cream of the crop team. They were a team that did not have a great record. They got hot at the right time, which, I mean, that happens sometimes. I'm not gonna degrade them for that, but it wasn't as if they were like blowing away the competition.
And I don't think it's so much
in a one game only, anything can happen. And if we remember correctly, that Grey Cup was in overtime.
Yes, that's also
they won
true.
It in overtime. So.
Yes, that's right.
I believe it was. And it's not as difficult, regardless of what fans want to say. I don't give a shit. It's not as hard to get to the Grey Cup in the Eastern Division as it is in the Western Division.
Mm-hmm. I agree, because the teams just don't have they haven't had the same type talent, same type record over the years.
Very rare, very rare. I don't know when the last time I've seen 3 strong Eastern teams.
There have been years where the first place team in the East would not have made the playoffs in the West.
Yes.
Yeah.
But, there's also times where the Toronto Argonauts, which was, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, went 16-2 in the season.
16-2?
Yeah. So it's, we could go back and forth on this one all day. But when you only have one team in the Eastern Division that is a powerhouse and the other 3 suck, then, it doesn't take much for the other team to get in there, get hot at the right time, take out the number 1 team that's slacking or thinks that they're not going to have any problems. They disrespect their opponent, and all of a sudden, some sub 500 team is in the Grey Cup game, going 1-on-1 with a team that's drunk the night before. So it's definitely a possibility, and then so I'm not giving a lot of credibility or credence, or I mean you have to. You can't disrespect him for winning a Grey Cup. But no. He also wasn't playing by the same rules that everybody else was.
But the thing about it, with him coming to Edmonton, to me, does not make sense at all. Why would you need to have a coaching analyst on staff? I mean,
because you're.
What are the
I'll tell you why.
And
I sorry, I'm going to cut you off, but because your coach doesn't have a lot of experience as a head coach. And I don't care who you are and how good you are, you always need a mentor.
Mhm.
You in your business right now, Michael, can use a mentor. I can use one. Okay. Tiger Woods has a coach for in golf. He needs a driving coach, but that's that's a whole nother discussion. Okay. So everybody
Low blow.
needs somebody that they can bounce ideas off of and find out whether or not they're doing what they're doing, especially if they don't have a lot of experience in that capacity. So Mark Killam, who I respect immensely and would have loved to have seen him in BC as the coach, is still a young, if not close to rookie head coach on a team that was literally a disaster most of last year. So
No.
they brought somebody in to help them out.
And
I don't
you
have
know
a problem
what?
with that.
Overall, their entire coaching staff doesn't have a lot of experience.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. They've got Mark Killam, JC Sherritt. He's got 3 years worth of coaching.
Last year was his rookie season at that position.
Aaron
Yeah.
Grimes has got maybe 1 year of coaching, maybe 2.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a
I think
rookie at
last
the
year was the
position.
second.
The guy who's got the most is Jason Tucker. So, and of course,
And he's not super experienced.
Mark Killam's got 20 plus years as an assistant.
But he was a
So-
rookie head coach.
Yes, he
Yeah.
was.
So your entire coaching staff, except for one person, was a rookie in the positions in which they held.
I do not believe that Rick Campbell's going to be the head coach of the Edmonton Elks.
No,
No, neither
Neither
do
do
I.
I.
I don't
Neither
think.
do I.
I don't think so
He's just-
either.
mentoring.
Because I think
I
Mark
don't
Killam.
think he was brought in for that capacity.
I think Mark Killam did do a good job last year, especially latter part of the season, because that team could have just folded the latter part of
agree.
the season, and it didn't. And I really believe, I hate to say this, my God, the reasons were Mark Killam didn't give up, and he made Cody the starter. Okay, what else can you say?
Michael, are you going on the post on Let's Talk CFL that where I said should Mark Killam be concerned?
Yes.
Okay, the reason why I put comments like that on articles is to create controversy so that we get interaction and attention to the post and we get some traffic happening and there's some engagement with the fans. It's not
Okay.
because I believe in what I say.
Creates a dialogue.
I'm
And
doing
most
my
of us-
job as an admin,
And most of us that know CJ just ignore him and just keep on going.
Yeah. and you
Okay.
should, and you should.
Yeah.
It put up.
I have no belief that Mark
immediately
Killam
it
should
put up
have
a
any.
red flag for me because I like Mark Killam as a head coach. I think
So
the last 8 games of the season he turned it around and he definitely had a cluster. He inherited a horrible roster, but he turned them around.
Can't disagree.
Well,
I think this year
let's see
too,
how
he's
they
gonna
do
have.
this year. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
The sophomore year is always the tell-all.
Oh, definitely. There's no excuses
Yeah.
because this is his roster.
So, they turned around, they put in some players, they got a team happening. Now we're going to find out whether or not they actually can perform on the field against quality football teams as opposed to Ottawa and Toronto and Montreal without their quarterback. Okay. And yes, they did win against Saskatchewan and Calgary, but Saskatchewan had nothing to play for. And we all know that the back-to-back Labor Day Calgary Battle of Alberta means nothing because Edmonton wins that game the majority of the time and Calgary wins the Labor Day Classic the majority of the time, regardless of how good either team is. It's just something that happens.
Yeah.
So I didn't
Just like
read
Labor
much
Day
into that.
basketball.
I know you did because you said, oh, they beat Calgary. Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. And they beat Saskatchewan when Saskatchewan was already the number 1 team in the Western Division and nobody could touch them. So they weren't playing for anything.
Especially if one of those teams is having a year where they're struggling and they're not playing well, that kind of becomes their Grey Cup because that's kind of their big showcase game, especially when it looks like they're not going anywhere. That's the game that they probably get up for the most.
That should have been the BC game when they were fighting for a playoff spot, and they literally
They pulled a no-show.
Embarrassed themselves.
That was the game that showed more character of that team than anything to me. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So Rick Campbell is there to assist and to bring some experience and seniority to the coaching staff. I do not believe that his position will be anything other than that, although he would be a great defensive coordinator for the team.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question for you in the group. What is it with Ed Hervey that why was he not successful in Vancouver?
He wasn't successful in a lot of places, okay? He made some really poor decisions. Ed Hervey hired Mark Killam. Ed Hervey hired Devon Claybrooks. Both were assistant coaches in Calgary. It was in a fabulous system. Mark Killam was a quality coach. Devon Claybrooks was not. Okay? So he went on the system, not necessarily the person. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of Ed Hervey. He built a good team in Edmonton. When Chris Jones won the Grey Cup with Mike Riley as the quarterback, they were a dominant force that year. How much was Ed? How much was Chris? How much of it was Mike Riley? Because Mike Riley was one of the best QBs in the league ever.
He carried that team.
So I'm a huge Mike Riley fan. So
sorry, go
ahead.
Don't forget, Rick Campbell also has a reputation in Edmonton because you know who his father is, right?
Of course.
Mike? And
yes, I do.
Yeah, so
nepotism.
Yeah, and Edmonton also has a fantastic athletic therapist and physical therapist. Her name is Lisa Swallow. Okay, and I'm just saying. Okay, she's from your neck of the woods, Scott. She's from Saskatchewan. So with a name like that, you have to be great at being a physical therapist. Just gonna say.
Is this a joke?
No, it's not. It's the truth. I couldn't come up with this by myself, Mike. Sorry.
There's no words to that.
That's what enables Cody to do all of his spin moves.
Well, maybe
I'm going to leave that alone, I think.
Maybe Scott, we ought to bring her on the show. Scott, let's bring her on the show.
There's an idea.
Okay, so our next segment here that we've got
not a good one, but an idea.
This is something that we have been bitching about for a long time, but Michael's taken it on as a special interest project for himself here, and it's end the salary cap for coaching staff and management. I don't know if there's anything else that we can say about this absolutely fucking stupid, ridiculous program. It can't happen, and I don't know why it's there, but it is. It was brought in by Randy Ambrosi, and I don't know. And in talking with Paul McCallum today, which had nothing at all to do with the salary management cap, which I think I probably should bring it up with Paul. Maybe we can grab him back on the show. He needs to get a light in his car, though. Where's I going with this?
Well, the reason I've got to burr up my ass on this issue is that the whole idea behind coaching staff is to develop players. And we consistently say that we need to develop Canadian players. How can we do that if we're not paying our coaches or get more coaches in there to develop the team, the younger players?
Well, the reason this is here is twofold. First off, the Players Association forced it in, saying that if they have to have a salary cap, especially one as low as what it is in the CFL, then teams shouldn't have the money to spend atrociously on coaching staff. So if the players are going to take less wages than what they believe they're entitled to, then why should the coaches be getting paid exorbitant salaries? Because I know Wally Buono was making more than any CFL player. As coach and GM of the BC Lions, he was close to $800,000. So, and so the Players Association got mad at this and said that they should have a salary cap for the coaches and managers. And that was a big tripping point in not the last CBA, but the one before it. So that's the league conceded that and brought in this salary management system for the management and coaching staff and training staff and scouts and everything else, which I don't think anybody on this 5-person panel right now is going to argue with you on this because it's absolutely ridiculous.
Utter insanity.
Utter insanity. And the other thing that had happened is that when comes back down to teams that aren't making a lot of money, don't have as much money to spend on coaching staffs, like the Edmonton Elks. So the team that's at the bottom of the league never has the money in which to get better. When teams at the top of the league, like Saskatchewan and Winnipeg, who are making copious amounts of money at the gate, can hire a plethora of coaching staff, scouting staff, everything else to keep them at the top of the game, where the junior or the less successful teams don't have that luxury. So that's the whole purpose of a player salary cap. So that's the purpose of the management salary cap.
Well,
is it right? No, it's stupid. But I understand it. I could justify it if I had to.
Edmonton does not have a problem with finances. They're owned by a billionaire.
A dead one.
Huh? Yeah. I mean, they can afford. Well, yeah, but it's still owned by his family, who's who are going to continue investing in the team.
The BC Lions were owned by a billionaire, and as soon as that billionaire died, they stopped writing checks. The family did not want to write checks. So that's not an excuse that says that the family is there. Is the family committed to the team to the nth degree that the other person was? Maybe. I mean, Montreal had the same problem with Wetenall died. Right? Wetenall died, billionaire steel guy. And after that, his daughter said, no more. I'm not writing the checks. So the team was sold. Actually, that team was thrown on the keys were thrown on the table and the league picked it up.
We're out of here.
Yeah, it gets back to what we've talked about with the league not getting the exposure it does. You've got to invest in coaching and player development to grow this league. I mean, that's the basic foundation of the Canadian Football League, is you got to develop your own players. And if you're not going to invest in it, how do you expect to grow the game, Christopher?
No, I can't answer that question, Michael.
I don't
think it. William, go ahead.
And I don't like to say this out loud, but what I did get out of Paul McCallum last week, and it's what I've been saying for a number of years, is the CFL does not market their product properly.
100%.
I don't think anyone would disagree with that.
I mean, you think about their main TV contract, TSN. You hardly ever hear about the CFL on TSN, of all places. Okay, like, come on, and you don't find it like everybody thinks the NFL is great because they get told 37,000 times a day that the NFL is great.
Yeah.
And they start to believe it. And I'm not even saying we have to do that. Maybe we should start with once a week or something. Have
Yeah,
a 30-minute CFL show on TSN every week.
I'm still trying to figure out why they hired Stuart Johnson.
They
Most
used
of
to
us
have
are.
a CFL show, weekly CFL show. They stopped
They
doing
do
it.
it on.
So one of the conversations that I had with Paul McCallum today was about the commissioner, and he absolutely has zero respect for this Stuart Johnson. Zero. He has no respect for Randy Ambrosie before him. And I made some comments about Jeffrey Orridge, and it was the only time that I didn't get any pushback from him. And so, yeah, I mean, we had Jeffrey Orridge for what was it, 14 months? And
Yeah.
more got
They pushed
accomplished
him
in
out.
those 14 months than Randy Ambrosie did in 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He didn't get a fair shot.
We still don't have a fucking website.
Because he didn't want to be a yes man to the owners. He wanted to actually do something.
Yeah, he went off and did things, and it was more like he was doing them because they needed to be done, and he was asking forgiveness, not permission. And David Braley's ego got out of hand on that one, and he swung a big hammer and got rid of him. And you know, I respect David Braley for what he has done for the CFL, and because he did. There wouldn't be a CFL without David Braley, and there certainly wouldn't be a BC Lions or a Toronto Argonauts, and we know that for a fact. And if those two teams were gone, there would be no CFL, and that's just a fact.
Right.
So he saved the league on more than one occasion for multiple years, if not decades. So you have to respect him for doing that. But he was a real asshole.
Mm-hmm.
It was a real arrogant prick, and it was his way or the highway, and he did not like it. There was some push and shove with Jeffrey Orridge, and Jeffrey lost. And in fact, I was talking with Jeffrey the other day. He's now with an organization called King's Game. The King's Game, I think it is. And it was actually the Prince's before, but now the Prince became the King. So it's a scholarship program for young guys. I did look it up. I did know it, but it kind of went out of my mind, so it's not really that relevant.
Mm-hmm.
But I did touch base with him on that and see what was going on and how he's doing. And I found him on LinkedIn.
Wouldn't you say, though, that the number one job of the commissioner, their primary role is to promote the game and negotiate television contracts and create a system where they can get the best possible contracts possible. Take a look at what and I know this is a bad example, is you take a look at the WNBA. I was watching TV last night on two different networks, and they're promoting the WNBA starting on Wednesday nights. And there's more promotion in a women's league than there is for the CFL football, which is to me a far better product.
Not arguing.
Hmm.
Speaking
So
of WNBA, did you see Angel Reese got traded?
Well,
Sorry.
at least she didn't come to Portland. That was good.
That was good. Yeah, she went to Atlanta, I think, didn't she?
Yes.
See, I know more about the WNBA than there's more happening in that than there is in the CFL.
Well, I just wish that Stuart Johnson would get in front of this and promote the league.
I do have a problem with that, Michael. I've been in business in retail and an entrepreneur for 35 years. Okay. Marketing is a overly used word for something that really doesn't work unless the product sells itself. You can throw a shit ton of money at a bad product and it's still going to be a bad product.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not saying the CFL is a bad product, but I am saying it's a broken product. And until they fix this league and fix the ratio and fix the salary management cap and make it so that it doesn't look like it's Bush League, right? Bring it up to the standards in which it should be. I don't care how much money you throw at marketing, it's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
You can throw millions and millions of dollars at marketing, and it's not going to do you any good to promote this league to people who believe that it's not a good product. That's a fact.
So then the question I have to ask you is, in the next collective bargaining agreement, why don't the owners say to the players, we're getting rid of the ratio? It's done.
It's 7 years from now.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Because CJ just said that he found Jeffrey Orridge on LinkedIn, I just decided to find him on LinkedIn too. And I looked at his resume, and guess what he doesn't have listed?
CFL.
CFL commissioner.
Yes, sir. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that
I
amazing?
mean,
That
why
would
would
be
you if you?
that would be something you'd want to promote, wouldn't you?
Would it?
It's not important to anybody in Canada.
Nope. Or anybody at TSN. Anyways.
I'm getting the impression that except for maybe about a dozen people, nobody really cares about this league from a media standpoint.
Michael Balsey does. Rod Peterson does. Okay. There are media people that do. Unfortunately, they're not the ones that control the content and the programming.
No.
Canada has two real main sports networks. There's TSN, which is, of course, the CFL home. They struggle to get coverage on TSN. The other one is Rogers Sportsnet. They're on. You'd be hard pressed to find anything CFL related on Rogers Sportsnet.
Well, you got a Rash Madani. That's about it, right? And he doesn't say
That's
anything
not
unless it's bad.
necessarily. Yeah, he doesn't say good things about the CFL, so that's not a great example as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so the other thing is that both of our sports channels are cable sports channels, and more than 50% of Canadians don't have them.
Really?
Okay, it's not on the regular network like ABS, ABC, or NBC or CBS or anything like that. It's not on our main networks in Canada that come with basic cable. You actually have to pay extra to have TSN.
Yeah.
Yes,
And
you do.
a lot of people don't pay extra to have TSN because really there's nothing on it.
Yeah, and it's interesting to think too that the CFL had their best years attendance-wise and so on back really throughout the 80s. In the 80s, the CFL was on both CBC and CTV.
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
Well, at least here in America, they need to get on a better network than CBS because nobody watches that network.
Well, but at least it's on the network. It's not on a network in Canada. That's the point I'm trying to make. At least it is on a network down there.
No, it's not really on it. CBS owns the sports channel, but it's a cable station. It's a cable sport. It's called CBS Sports Network. It's a cable sports network.
Bad.
It's not on the. They don't show CFL games on the main CBS network. I don't believe, anyways.
No, they don't.
No.
Okay, well then I'm misled on that. Okay, so so it's no different in the States. So yeah, it's a challenge for what they're trying to do, and until you start fixing the product, how is marketing going to be any good for the CFL if the people can't watch the games? And
Yep.
one of the worst things that we ever did to the CFL, and 100% I'm going to blame Wally Buono for part of this, was he was an adamant advocate for blackouts. Right? We had blackouts where if you were in the Vancouver area, the GBRD, like right out to Hope almost, you weren't allowed to watch a CFL game on TV.
Nope.
Or sorry, a Lions home game on TV. Okay. And I think they did the same thing in Saskatchewan where they blacked out the entire province.
Well, I
Yeah.
think they did it right across the league, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, every team did it.
Yeah.
So that they blocked out their home games so that people couldn't sit at home and watch TV, watch the game on TV. If they wanted to watch the game, they had to go to the stadium. And what that did was burn the bridge. They said, fuck you, I'm not going to watch the CFL.
I'll just watch something else then. I'm not going to come to the stadium. How do they thought that restricting access to a product was going to help sell it? Still makes no sense to me.
Well,
majority of children that grow up to be CFL fans wasn't because their parents dragged them to games. It was because it was on TV and they watched it at home.
Well, they did the same thing down here in the States with the NFL. They used to have blackouts here. They did away with that about 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, the CFL did away with it too. But I mean, the damage was done here where NFL turned around and threw buckets of money at it and got better. CFL didn't have buckets of money to do that with. Now let's go back to something that we were talking about the other day, which was the WNBA is supported, subsidized by the NBA.
By the NBA.
Right? And that's not because the WNBA is a farm league for the NBA, because I don't think there's any females in the WNBA that are ever going to make it to the NBA. It's not going to happen. So why are they dumping money into it?
Because they're finally, for the first time, because of Caitlin Clark, this is the first time that this league has got stature in the States. People want to go. The people want the product. The arenas are selling out. I mean,
the NBA has been supporting this league for a long time, not just since Caitlin Clark came to the league.
Really, since it started.
Well, yeah, they've been supporting it for 30 years.
Yeah.
They're a 60% owner in the league.
So why would they do that? Is to get basketball into the homes. Is to create some excitement. It's create a lot of things. The more basketball that's on TV, the better off their ratings are going to be. The more the girls are going to watch the NBA as well as the WNBA. All of the reasons, right? It's good
the NBA,
marketing.
The NBA is the topic of discussion year round with the WNBA. They play year round.
Yep, exactly.
Okay. So I'm trying to find out why we can't get the NFL to do something similar for the CFL. Now, I know the question right away would be, why don't they do it for the what is it, the UFL? Or what the fucking name?
USFL.
USFL or whatever they're called right now.
UFL.
Right, so I was right the first time. UFL.
United Football League.
Right? So
that league is not going to make it.
They're not going to make it, but is that because the NFL is not supporting them? And why would the NFL support them? Because they're literally competition to them, right? Where the CFL isn't competition to the NFL. There's a lot of players that come out of the CFL for the NFL. It's just, to me, it would just make sense. And they did it back in the 90s where the NFL loaned the CFL $10 million and basically forgave it. Was a grant.
Well, I think the obvious answer to that question is I think up in Canada you'd be viewed as a minor league league compared to the NFL.
It'd be like a development feeder league. Yep.
And you don't want that monitor.
Well,
I want the money.
you can say what you want about the UFL, and you say it'll never last. Well, they're in their third year now,
Yeah, I know.
and
Yeah, but
I've watched 2 games, and the crowds at the 2 games were not bad.
yeah,
I've
but
I've looked at
There's
the
only
attendance.
one
Like St. Louis had 31,000 people, and what was it? Some other team had 4. So, when a team has 4,000 people in the stands, they're not doing really well. But when a team has 31,000 in St. Louis, that's a pretty good, damn good number. And it was
Yeah.
definitely the highest of all of them.
well, I think
I mean,
And I mean,
if you put a UFL team in Portland, they would draw 20,000.
and
okay.
the
Portland
worst
is
thing
But it's-
about that, the worst thing about that is I've watched quite a few UFL games, and you know what? Those players aren't even close to as good as CFL players.
No, they're not. They're not remotely close.
But so I don't get it, but that's just me.
But don't you
I mean, that was
think?
one of the things that Paul McCallum had said to me today, or actually reiterated what he had said on the show, is that if you put the number 1 college football team in America in a football game against a CFL team, they would lose.
I don't agree
Yeah,
with that.
You what?
I would. Some of the premier teams, those colleges are getting paid more. Those players are getting paid more than the
I don't care what they're
CFL.
getting paid. I'm saying the quality of the player. He is saying the quality of the player. You're talking about men versus boys.
True.
Yes.
Yeah,
Full-grown
true.
adults against,
But
a lot of
why?
teenagers.
But why is a college game getting 100,000 people in the stands, and why is CFL getting 14? Was it because the tickets for the college games are $12
No,
Not
Those-
always.
they're over 100.
for some games and in some seats,
I
but
mean,
not every seat?
it's not cheap to go to a college game. It's not inexpensive. You're making an investment in the program. I mean, that's what they're selling is an investment in the program.
Let's see, Mike, in Saskatchewan, you can get tickets as high as $150 per game, and tickets as low as $20 all in.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I really don't understand why the CFL isn't popular. I mean, it's the second best league in the world. You're granted, you're never going to be as good as you're never going to be up there with hockey. That's a given. But you could be the second best sport in Canada, and that
It won't
should
be.
be why.
Because soccer's more important.
In Canada, you've only got 2 teams.
3.
MLB is
Care.
more important.
But that's what the kids play.
Yeah, they play soccer. There are more soccer players here in the United States than there are football players. But look where the NFL is.
Same thing, look at the
Football's a
Blue Jays.
religion in the southern states. It's a whole
Right.
different ballgame. You can't talk about it. You're comparing. You need to compare football in the United States to hockey in Canada. You cannot
Right.
compare football in Canada to football in America. You can't do it.
No.
You might as well
down there.
compare football in Canada to field lacrosse.
Yuck.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm sorry. I don't understand. I understand your position. I know what you're trying to say, but you're not coming from a position of understanding. And we keep saying it over and over again, and we all accept where we are and understand what our challenges are to our game. And there's nothing that we're going to be able to do to change the population of Canada. Okay. The sad thing is that we have right now is the majority of CFL fans are old. Okay. If you look at the stadiums, the majority of fans are over 40 years old. In fact, I would say that most of them are over 60
50.
years old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
These fans are getting older. They're ending up with physical problems. They're ending up with cash flow and financial problems. And they're not going to be going to the games much longer. Okay. And when that happens, this league is going to fail because they have not filled it with the 30 to 40-year-olds. They haven't filled it with the 20 to 30-year-olds, and they haven't filled it with the 10 to 20-year-olds. And if you do not fill your pipeline behind your older people, you die. And it's no different than my winemaking. When I was making wine, the majority of my clients were baby boomers or older because they knew what the value of the dollar was. They were prepared, the patience to wait, to let it age, to become good wine. Where everybody below that age wanted instant gratification. They wanted to go to the liquor store, they wanted to buy a bottle, and they wanted to drink it. They didn't care if they paid 3 times as much because they wanted it now. And that generation, that philosophy in that generation destroyed the industry that I was in because the old people stopped drinking because they started dying. My clients were dying. And that's exactly what's happening with the CFL. The fans are dying. They're getting too old to go to the games. They're retiring. They don't have the capital disposable income that they once did. And they're not going to the games as much. And we don't have the working class people of younger generations going to the games because they're watching the NFL. If they're football fans, they're watching the NFL.
Go ahead, Will.
CJ, does this mean I'm going to have to start watching the WNBA?
As you're old?
Yeah, because I'm old. I'm going to kill myself first.
Probably. I wouldn't watch it. It's not even good basketball.
Yes,
Well,
it
I
is.
think too, the younger generation, they would rather go to a friend's house and watch the football game or whatever with their friends while drinking as opposed to going to the football game.
It's cheaper to drink at home.
Yeah. I know a lot of people when in Saskatchewan and I say, hey, do you want to go? Like, you should come to the football game. Well, I can watch it at home. I can drink there. It's cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
It's true.
Yeah,
And,
but
and you can drink at home when you're not old enough to drink in the stadium.
Yep.
Yeah,
True.
but the
And when
beauty
the
of
drinks
going,
aren't $12 a pop.
but the beauty of going to the game is the tailgating in Saskatchewan, which you're going to have this year.
But for the first 120 years, they didn't.
I was going to say this coming year is going to be the first time that they legitimately they used to a long time ago, which even then wasn't really tailgating. But
I mean, literally here in the States, I mean, here at Oregon and Oregon State, our two major football teams, the tailgating experience, it's part of the going to the games.
Mhm.
Sometimes
We can't
we
do it in Vancouver.
Very
Can't
few
happen.
cities in Vancouver you can do in Canada you can do that.
Can't do it. Not part of our culture, and it's not part of our city. You can in Winnipeg. You will be able to in Saskatchewan. You cannot in Toronto. You cannot in Toronto. I'm pretty sure you cannot in Ottawa because I've been there and I don't remember anywhere where that's even possible. Can't do it in Vancouver. I don't know. William, can you tailgate in Calgary?
Yeah, you can.
Right in the parking lot in the stadium.
Yeah.
Part of the
And-
issues too in Vancouver is
but
that most
for
of the
me-
parking are parkades.
So sorry, for me, I don't give a shit about the tailgating experience. For me, the experience is the game.
well the
So
same
You are the exception.
and I really honestly I don't think I've ever drank at a football game.
really.
Really? Well, other than when I was in my 20s in Saskatchewan, but I didn't know any better.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
have to
went to a
be
game with Will. We didn't buy any beer.
no.
I I have to admit, I've never drank at
Yeah,
a
that
football
was
game
because
either.
CJ was too busy necking with Stevie. So
No, that was the night that my ranch got robbed and they stole my firearms
yeah,
and the
yes.
police were getting mad at me and
Yeah, but
all
during the
sorts of
game
things.
you were necking. During the game you were necking with Stevie.
I didn't even see Stevie before the game.
To be honest, I've drank a beer at games sometimes, but not that often, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, Charles, in the time we've ran into each other at the Grey Cup, you ever seen me drink?
Not that I recall.
Yeah, you don't want to get me
And we were
involved in
hanging out
drinking.
at parties at bars at it and everything.
Yeah.
In Saskatchewan, they have $5 drafts from the game until half an hour before the game starts. After that, it goes back to regular price, which is about $12.
They've been starting to do that in Vancouver too.
See, even $5 a beer to me is a stupid amount of money.
Problem is
Yep.
they sell Pilsner probably.
Yeah,
Well,
I
you
didn't
see,
feel it.
and,
Should be a buck a beer.
And
I don't
and
drink
I
that.
always tell people the same scenario. You know, there was that guy. What was that guy? He used to be on our podcast, Mark Wetnall. He used to say that the Bombers' experience was you go to their new stadium and nobody sits in their seat. They all mingle around and they all drink
Oh.
and
They go to the rum hut
and
or
you
whatever it's
and
called.
and you got to get that stuff in other stadiums. Well, when I was in my 20s and I liked football, I'll be honest with you, I didn't go to football games to drink. Okay?
No.
I went to the bar. And there was probably 10 years where I didn't go to a football game because they were on weekends and I was busy at the bar. So just
More
saying it's a
women at the
different
bar than there are in the stadium. So
yes,
go to the
it's
bar.
it's a different crowd and I mean I don't know
If
what
I'm going to watch a
tell you.
football game, personally, I want a seat to watch it in.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't
I
want to
agree.
stand for 3 hours straight. I did that at the Grey Cup in Hamilton. We bought tickets in a section that was all like standing room and stuff like that. And we were there, and it was fun being there. But you know what? It was crowded. We were all standing in a crowd, and if you left to go to the bathroom, you lost your
Spot.
space. And it was hard enough just to find a spot with a good because there were so many people there. I'm like, next time I go to a Grey Cup, I'm buying a seat where I can actually have it reserved,
Yep.
So
which
I'll
is
tell
what
you a
I've done
story.
this year.
Tell you a story, Michael, about football once. I've been a football fan pretty much my entire life since I was like 7 years old, 9 years old, or something like this. Anyhow, I was at a place in Port Moody called the Port Moody Inn, PMI, and it's a peeler bar. And there's a whole big behind the peeler bar. It's all mirrors, okay? And the girls are like dancing on the floor and everything else. And I'm sitting in the front row with my buddies like that. And she's rolling around on the ground. And I says, can you move your leg? And she goes, what? And I says, can you move your leg? And she goes, why? And I said, I can't see the football game in the mirror behind you because it was behind me at the bar, right? And I was trying to watch the football game. And she slapped me across the face.
Honey, your kitty cat's in the way.
With what?
No, her hand. But
Okay.
anyhow, it was kind of funny because we ended up dating for about 3 months. But that's beside the point. Yeah, because I actually told her to move her leg because I couldn't see the football game in the mirror. Yeah.
That's
So
good.
you know where my priorities are. I would rather watch football.
Well, I guess I won't beat a dead horse anymore. I guess I'm just gonna have to go with the flow.
Yeah.
You should do that on a
Eventually,
few subjects.
eventually, Will and I will be watching the WNBA together.
Yeah, guess what, Mike? I'll stab myself in the eye with a fork before I do that.
Okay. So where are we going to go here? Did Corey Mace do the best coaching job in the CFL in 2025. He won Coach of the Year. Was he the best coach in the CFL last year? It's a good question. They did have the most dominant team. They did win the Grey Cup.
Yep.
Did he do the best job as a coach? What defines a coach? Where did Michael go? We lost Michael.
We lost Michael.
He'll be back, yeah.
So, what do you guys think? Was he the best coach? What defines the great coach? I mean, is it not winning the Grey Cup? Is it not
Yeah.
being the
I
best
think
team in the league?
yeah,
Is
well,
it not?
I think I think he did well, obviously being a fan, I think that way, but he did a great job of having whoever stepped on that football field, he had them performing.
Yeah.
Well, and he also had them prepared.
You know
Yeah.
what? I think he won that award for 2 years in a row because he was consistent the year before, and he brought Saskatchewan back to something that was.
And the other thing too that I enjoy is for a couple of years there at least, during the Marino era, the Riders were starting to get quite a bit of a reputation for being a dirty team. Mace has
bad
done a
reputation,
decent
that's
job
true.
of taking that away.
Riders have been a dirty team for a long time. It wasn't just during Marino.
Thank you, CJ. I was going to say that, but I was hoping you would first.
Specifically,
Okay.
you're right, but specifically during that era,
It may have been the pinnacle of their shittiness, but Riders have been known to destroy quarterbacks.
You know who would have got my vote for Coach of the Year last year? Mark Killam.
You know what? I was going to say that, and I'm not going to argue with you.
You can make a case for that.
I think he did a good job turning the Edmonton Elks around, and we'll see what happens this year.
Yep.
I was impressed with what Buck Pierce did in his rookie year.
This year, he should win Coach of the Year.
He falls into the same category that Bo Levi did when Hamilton didn't make the playoffs. Bo deserved it, but how do you give it to a team where they didn't make the playoffs?
Yep, I agree.
He did a great job.
I was thinking when I came up with the topic, I was thinking Jason Moss.
I think so. He's been the most successful coach there in how long?
Okay, and I'm also thinking Mark Killam should have won it despite not having a quarterback.
Okay, if you want to say that Mark Killam should have won it, I have two things that are wrong with that. Why did he stay with Trey Ford as long as he did? Okay, that's coaching. That's nothing other than coaching. And why did they try to force Trey Ford into being a drop back pocket passer? That's not who he was.
No,
that's 100% on coaching.
But it's an argument.
Mark Killam's not in charge.
100%. He's the coach.
No, he's not.
He was the head coach.
He's not in charge. I know, but he's not in charge. General manager's in charge.
General manager's not in charge of turning a quarterback into a drop
in charge.
back passer.
How do you know? You don't know their specific roles.
Yeah.
Well, a head coach is a head coach. They're called a head coach for a reason.
Ed Hervey's in charge of Edmonton.
In the last since 2000 and whenever Dave Dickinson took over, who do you think was in charge? It wasn't Dave Dickinson.
John
Thank you.
I know that, but the point is, managers need to manage and coaches need to coach.
Absolutely.
I know when Cody was in Saskatchewan in 2021 there, the season after COVID, Jason Moss didn't get a chance to do anything with Cody. Craig Dickinson said, "You're making him into a pocket passer." Jason Moss didn't want to, but he was forced to.
Yeah, and Cody's not a pocket passer.
Craig Dickinson.
Craig Dickinson was the head coach.
He was the head coach.
He wanted Cody to be a pocket passer.
You can't force a quarterback to be something he is not.
Correct.
I completely agree.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now, there are some amazing pocket passers.
Doesn't mean they won't try.
No,
Ricky Ray was one of
They
them.
tried, they
Anthony
failed.
Calvillo.
Yep.
Bo Levi Mitchell. All good pocket passers. Michael Riley was not.
no.
Doug Flutie was not.
Nope.
Okay. And Davis
And
Alexander, Nathan Rourke, Adam,
and
Vernon Adams. These guys are not pocket passers.
well, but
In the league right
They're
now
the
today.
best when they're using their legs.
I could say that
Right?
what's his name from Edmonton? What's his name? The quarterback?
Trey Ford, Cody
Trey
Fajardo.
Ford. Trey Ford wasn't a pocket passer, and he wasn't a scrambler either. He wasn't a good quarterback, period.
He was a good scrambler, and he did throw the ball in the run.
Okay,
And
well,
his
sure,
problem was
make him a
when
wide
you're in a
receiver, make him a running back.
a pocket passer has to be able to read defenses.
Yeah.
Correct.
You cannot
no,
read
Yes,
defenses.
he's
You
never
cannot
shown
be a
he is
pocket
not
passer.
shown that ability.
No,
And
no,
that's
a
why the-
quarterback has to be able to read defenses. Doesn't matter what kind he is.
And that is why Trey Ford was not a good quarterback and is still
Correct.
not a good quarterback.
Well, I don't believe you can actually say that, Michael, and be truthful about it, because I do believe he's got some talent, and I believe that he needs to develop. And he didn't develop in Edmonton because there was nobody to develop him. He didn't have a coach. He didn't have a mentor. He didn't have anything. So, and he was thrown to the wolves as a number one quarterback without developing properly. So, giving him the ability to develop in Hamilton may turn him into a quarterback. May not.
Too late.
It may not. And it might be
Too
too late,
late.
William. You might be right. But at least one team out there is giving him the chance, where most players who have fallen on their face the way that he did in Edmonton would be gone from the league.
Mhm.
So the fact that he still has
It's
found a
true.
team means somebody out there, specifically Scott Milanovich, see something in him that is workable.
Now let's be
And
fair
Scott-
let's be fair to Edmonton on one thing. They were willing to renegotiate his contract and give him a similar contract that he got in Hamilton, because I think that they knew they didn't do right by him.
He needed to leave. A change of scenery had to happen with him in Edmonton.
Totally agree.
He wasn't. Yeah,
He had no future.
he
there.
wasn't getting anywhere with Edmonton. Too much bridges burnt there.
There is still no one in Edmonton to coach him. There is still no one in Edmonton to mentor him. If the best quarterback on your team is Cody Fajardo, how the fuck do you expect to develop quarterbacks?
It's not Cody
No, you're not going
Fajardo.
to.
It's not Cody Fajardo's job to develop quarterbacks. He's a player. That's why you have to have a quarterback coach.
That
Cody
is why
Fajardo
you
still
have a
doesn't know how to.
100% it's his job.
Fence.
They sit down on the sidelines afterwards. They analyze plays. They go over it. They sit down together. They're a team in the film room. They are supposed to be a unit.
They're
a
doing
quarterback
that.
room. So
And
yes,
Cody-
it's the quarterback's job on the field. He's not going to stop the play and say, "Hey, did you see what I did here? This is what you got to do." No, that's not going to happen in a game. But they have to eat, live, and breathe that. And that's not Cody. It's not who he is.
Cody was with him when Trey was the starter the first 6 games. He was over on the side when the offense was on the bench. He was there looking at film with Trey.
He was trying to teach him how to do the spin
Michael.
move.
I'm saying that he's no fucking good at it.
In order to coach quarterbacking, you have to be a good quarterback. Okay?
Cody can't read a defense either.
This is the blind leading the blind. Okay.
Well,
And
just
you're not going to, there's nothing you can say to change my mind about Cody Fajardo. I've watched him
No.
for a decade. For a decade, I have watched him in the CFL. There's, I, there's nothing you can do to change my mind.
do you think I'm trying?
Yeah,
Okay,
you are.
I'm gonna concede this. I'm gonna give you this, Mike. And CJ might get mad at me if I say this, but I'm gonna say it anyways. Cody Fajardo is a better quarterback than Marcus Crandall.
Oh, oh.
Is that high praise?
They both won Grey Cups. Just saying.
William, that's not setting the bar very high.
Well, Cody doesn't set the bar very high. We all know this.
And Cody has something that Marcus Crandall never had, the spin move.
And he can run, actually.
He tries
And he's
that
now
way
got
too often.
He's now got a physical trainer named Swallow.
That's correct.
That's why Cody's always happy on the sidelines.
Pretty much why the Edmonton Elks didn't trade for Mr. Quarterback in Toronto.
Is that why their tent goes up so much?
Yeah.
That's
You
why
guys are-
MBT was always so
You guys are
frustrated.
going. You guys are going to be surprised.
Oh, stop it, Michael.
The
Stop
only
it.
Why is
quarterback,
Taylor Powell getting the #1 spot?
No, maybe Cody
the
will
only
do it for.
quarterback,
Maybe
the only
Cody will do it
quarterback
for.
in the CFL that is going to surprise me this year, if he does better than what I anticipate him to do, would be Chad Kelly.
Well, maybe Cody will do it for Swallow.
Here you go. This is my prediction this year. The only way the Calgary Stampeders win anything this year is if their quarterback plays better than he's ever played in his life
For the full season.
for the
And that
full
would be
season.
Vernon Adams.
Well,
Yes, sir.
he needs to do that anyhow, William.
Well, no, I know
he
he
can-
needs to do that.
If he can play for a full season like he can, there's no stopping him.
If he plays like he played the first 6 games in BC 2 years ago, he's going to be hard to catch. Because he was on
Hey.
par that season. He was on par for 6,000 yards.
Yeah, and then until he got injured.
He was an absolutely amazing quarterback. I was happy that he was in BC. He was just playing an amazing game. Okay. And then he
when
lost
he plays
confidence.
confident,
He lost confidence. He started to lose, and then he got hurt.
Mhm.
We've
he
seen
needs to
that 2
understand that
times
when
now.
you put the ball up in the air that much, you're gonna throw some picks.
Yeah, and it's okay.
Yeah,
It's
but
okay to throw picks.
you got guys like Mike Riley and Bo Levi Mitchell and those guys. They didn't care how many picks they threw.
No,
They
neither
never lost.
did
They
Doug
never lost
Flutie.
confidence. You know what I mean?
But Bo's fucking throwing tons of interceptions, but he's also
Yes, he
throwing for
has.
tons of
Sure.
but he's also
And-
throwing
and-
for tons of
And
yardage.
he'll come out the next day and throw another ton of interceptions and keep on doing it and still say, I'm going to be 20-0 this year. Okay?
Honestly, if you have a decent defense, interceptions shouldn't matter that much.
No. Wipe it off, go to the next play.
Right.
But
When you
he
when
has
you
an
throw
issue
a
with
long
that.
ball and it gets picked off, you should just count it as a punt. That's simple.
He does.
No, he needs to learn that interception is just let him go.
Yeah, but
Now,
that's
if you're throwing a 10-yard pass and it's intercepted, that's a little bit bigger of a deal.
Yeah, of course.
But if you're throwing it
It's when
56,
it's when you throw one to the sidelines behind the line of scrimmage and it gets picked off and goes for 6. That is bad. Okay.
yeah,
That's a
That is
problem.
not a punt. That is not good. Okay.
yeah.
yeah, but Vernon
And when,
Adams.
if you're getting chased around in the backfield and you do these spin moves and you drop the ball on the ground, that's bad. Okay.
Vernon Adams has always had a problem with confidence. He's been in the league
Yep.
now 10 years.
Long time.
Mm-hmm.
When he's
Who
good,
holds the NFL record for throwing the most interceptions?
No idea.
I have no
I
idea.
think it's Dan Marino.
Probably.
Oh, it's Brett Favre.
Oh, that
Okay.
makes sense. And Brett Favre doesn't care how many interceptions he threw.
No.
Doesn't care how many
Never.
interceptions he
No.
flushed
And I-
them.
Didn't give a damn.
And I can foresee with the Vernon Adams working with Dave Dickinson, I can see him getting him to flush that.
Yeah,
I don't know if you
he's
can-
going to
I don't
learn.
know if-
He's,
I don't know if you can flush that at this point in his career.
I think he
Don't know if he
can.
can, but if anybody can help him with it, it'd probably be Dave Dickinson.
Yeah, I think he can. Hey, Dave threw his fair chunk of interceptions.
Sure he did.
Well, and that's all you have to do is sit there and say, look at all these guys that are up where they are. They fucking huck the interceptions like crazy. Mike Riley threw tons of interceptions.
It happens.
Yeah.
He did, yep.
Well, so did
Don't
It's
worry
Warren
about
Moon.
how many.
It's your interception to touchdown ratio that is important. And in
Yeah.
all honesty, and I'll tell you, Darian Durant had a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception
Yep.
ratio. 1-to-1. Okay.
That's not good.
And it's not good.
And,
Neither
and
was
then
he.
George Cortez took over. It was George Cortez, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, George Cortez took over the offensive coordinator and turned it around and changed the offense to stay away from his weaknesses, which was throwing the ball. And they ran the ball both with Corey Sheets as a running back and Darian Durant as a
Oh, Corey
quarterback.
Sheets was amazing.
And they won a
yeah.
Grey Cup.
They
And he
Darian
went 4-1
Durant-
in touchdowns to interception ratio.
Darian Durant had just good receivers around him that made him look good
He did.
or decent.
But he also learned to throw, didn't go downfield so much.
Yeah.
They took
Yeah.
that away from him.
They did more crossing patterns with him.
Yeah. Okay, guys. We're gone an hour and a half on this show, so I'm going to have to shut it down. Sorry, we're talking football, we're having fun and everything else.
Okay.
But we're going to go. So
Okay.
this has been Let's Talk CFL podcast, episode number 643. I'm your host, Christopher Jones, and I had fun. We just talk football back and forth, round and round, and that's what it's all about. Okay, so you guys take care. William McDonald, you say goodnight, my friend.
Good night, everybody. Watch some UFL this weekend. It's actually not bad football, not great, but it's football. And maybe we'll see a guest on the show next week.
Maybe if Scott doesn't
He'll be
fuck
here.
up again.
Yeah, I wasn't going to say that, but
Corrected
hey,
that already. I got that corrected.
he's allowed to do that.
William,
Yeah,
I'm
so-
allowed
Hey,
to
I
say
used to have
anything I
Cody
want.
Fajardo on my team, so fuck ups
True that.
happen.
True that.
Yeah, there you go. Michael Dennis, say goodnight.
Good night, everybody. And for my Edmonton Elks fans, Chris Morris will be on the show next month. It's locked
Awesome.
in.
Excellent. Okay, Scott Morledge.
Everyone have a good night. We'll see you with our guest next week. And just remember, every day is one day closer to football.
Yep.
Okay, and Charles Cliff, it's up to you.
Just over a month until training camp starts, so it's getting close. It's gonna be here before we know it, and then we'll be arguing about a whole bunch of new topics about winning and losing. So that should be fun.
Okay, I'm going to push the button now. Stop recording.